Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the continuation of our Zoom educational virtual meetings that we've been conducting since we find ourselves in this global pandemic that has changed the way we communicate. It looks like we just begun to stream on Facebook. I'd like to welcome all the participants, both on Zoom as well as on Facebook Live. It really is an honor to have an outstanding panel today. I'm really, thrilled to really have the top of the top as it comes to education, public education, student safety, and student well-being in the city of Glendale. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome Dr. Kevin Garlsyan, the president of the Armenian American Medical Society, and thank you for your leadership in directing the organization and making sure that we are communicating all the latest scientific information and practical information as we navigate the waters of this uncertain times and really equip ourselves with the latest knowledge so that we can best take care of ourselves, our loved ones, and the community around us. Today we have a very, very impressive panel. We have many of the top leaders of the Glendale Unified School District, Dr. Armina Ghrapetian, who is the president of the Glendale Unified School District's Educational Board. We have Dr. Vivian Ekchian, who is the superintendent of the Glendale Unified School District. We have Dr. Ilin Margan, who is the director of the student wellness for the Glendale Unified School District, and also Michelle Green, who is the coordinator of health services for the Glendale Unified School District. And we really look forward to having a dynamic discussion, first of all, hearing from our expert panels and then having a dynamic discussion on what we all need to learn, what we all need to know as the opening of the school year is around the corner upon us, and what do we all need to do for all of us who have kids and ones that don't, but however have family members who have kids, and how does this all impact us, our day-to-day lives, as well as various health considerations. Our distinguished panel does have short presentations, and we're very lucky to have them here. Dr. Armina Ghrapetian is going to be our first speaker. Dr. Ghrapetian is no stranger to us. She is a member of the healthcare community in Glendale. Many of you know her as a dentist and has a boutique practice where she deals with Invisalign and other similar type of issues. She, as I stated, she is the president of the Glendale Unified School District Board of Education. She was first elected in 2013, subsequently was re-elected in 2017. Dr. Ghrapetian attended Glendale Community College and later transferred to UCLA, where she received her bachelor's of science in biology. Subsequently, she received her dental degree from the Pacific School of Dentistry. She's a member of the American Dental Association, California Dental Association, San Fernando Valley Dental Society, and a longtime member of the Armenian American Medical Society. We are truly honored to have Dr. Ghrapetian, who is a dear colleague, a friend, and now is going to give us a short presentation on the Glendale Unified School District, and we'll look forward to hearing her comments and participating in the discussion. Dr. Ghrapetian, please go ahead and take over this platform. Feel free to share your screen and take it from here.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Sepilian. But first of all, thank you to Armenian American Medical Society for inviting us to share this very important topic of school reopening. And also thank you, Dr. Sepilian and Dr. Garlsyan for all you do for our community when it comes to health and well-being of our community. So the school reopening topic has been a very interesting and hot topic for the past several months. And not only in the state of California, but nationally and also worldwide during this pandemic. So, it has been a very, different individuals have with different viewpoints and opinions have joined us in this conversations, and we've heard a lot of disagreement or difference of opinions, which is okay, which is healthy, and this is not only among parents, also among educators, and also our leaders in federal and state leaders. I don't think that anybody can argue that kids learn, get the best education when they attend in school in person. And when we say schooling, it's not just academics. It's a whole bunch of other things that kids experience. That's, the socializing with the students, socializing with each other, making lifelong friends, joining clubs or joining sports team or learn how to play musical instruments. For us, schooling is that. It's just not academics. So not having that opportunity for our students, it's a very difficult, it makes it very challenging for our kids and our educators. I wanted to share a little bit of a background about GUSD so our participants can know more about Glendale Unified School District. So our student population is about 26,000 students, and we have about 3,000 employees. We are the largest employer in the city of Glendale. We have 30 school sites, and we have a very, very diverse student population. Believe it or not, in the city of Glendale and in our student population, Glendale, we have more than 55 different languages and dialects that are spoken in Glendale. So we have a wide variety of students from different backgrounds. About 40% of our student population is from Armenian descent. 25% of our student population are English learners. And 54% of our students are on free and reduced lunch, which meaning that they are from low-income families. GUSD is a very highly regarded school district. We have 9 national blue ribbon schools designations, which is the highest designation from U.S. Office of Education for a public school. We have 26 out of 30 of our schools have California Distinguished School designation. And we are the only school district in the United States that offers 7 dual immersion languages. One of them is Armenian, and we have Spanish, Korean, French, Italian, German, and Japanese. We have several magnet schools from elementary to high school, and all of this information is readily available on our school website, on our GUSD website. And we also have a developmental center for multi-handicapped students, and that's our College View school for severely handicapped students. So the reopening of the schools in the fall has been a very interesting topic for all of us. None of us could have ever imagined that we could get to this point, that we would actually have to close our schools and have this distance learning instructions available for our students literally overnight. And I am not kidding you. It had happened literally overnight. So on March 16th, we decided that the schools were shut down as of March 16th, Glendale Unified Schools, all of the schools. And that was based on our public health department announcements and the risks of and the impact of the virus. And we actually, the Board of Education met, we had a special board meeting the Friday before, and we made the decision that it is for the safety of our staff and our students that we need to close the schools. Luckily, we were during our spring break, so we extended our spring breaks. We gave an opportunity for our teachers to get the training that they needed to continue with the distance learning. There are a lot of challenges with remote learning, and I'm sure Dr. Vivian Ekchian will touch upon those. But one of them was our students having the proper devices and connectivity. And we were very fortunate that matter of a week, we were able to distribute 8,000 Chromebooks to our students who didn't have devices at home. And we made sure that everybody has hotspots, connectivity, so the teachers can connect with them and the students can connect with the teachers. And we have additionally ordered 10,000 Chromebooks for this coming fall. So if there are any students that don't have devices, they will be able to receive one and take home and use that for their distance learning. Nutrition was another challenge because we know that many of our families and students rely on daily nutrition, school nutrition, and we have a huge department that has been working very hard to provide grab-and-go breakfast and lunch to our students. And luckily, our superintendent was really behind that and really worked hard to make sure that not one student can go without nutrition since last spring. We are in summer break, but we're still distributing nutrition, and it will go on until August 7th. We're going to have a little bit of break there until we open the schools on August 19th. We have done several surveys because for the Board of Education and our superintendent was a crucial thing and a very important thing for us to hear from as many parents, as many educators and students as far as, what they think about this reopening, the fall reopening. Obviously, we had so many different opinions and concerns, and some were ready to send their kids to school full time. Some were okay with, majority were fine with hybrid model, which Dr. Ekchian will talk about it more in detail, which is a combination of in-person and distance learning. And also some parents didn't feel comfortable to bring their kids to the school sites, so they preferred the full distance learning. The Board of Education also provided the opportunity for our community, for our school community, parents, teachers, and students. We invited them to a town hall meeting and a special board meeting, which literally took us probably 9 hours of meeting to really give an opportunity to everyone to share their concerns. So that was another great thing that we did. And I think probably we are one of the few school districts that has done that. And on July 14th, which is 2 weeks ago, the Board of Education accepted the recommendation of our superintendent, and we decided that for us, it is the right thing for us to reopen the school in the fall on August 19. It is the right thing to do to go full remote in the beginning and kind of revisit this full distance learning instructions in 2 months, which is after the first quarter, and see how the public health department, what the directives are from there, how the COVID cases are. So it will give us a chance by the end of first quarter to come back and revisit our distance learning instructions. Believe it or not, it was not an easy task. We didn't take this decision lightly. And it took many, many hours of discussions and taking many, many factors into account. But it was as far as the health and safety of our community, of our educators and students, I think that was the best decision that we made. Another challenge that we will be facing in August, which I'm sure Dr. Ekchian will talk about it as well, but I'm just giving you some pointers. The challenge of childcare. Parents will be, many parents are essential workers. They have never stopped working, but childcare is a huge issue when August comes, and a lot of families or parents will be going back to work. So that's another thing that we have addressed it, and Dr. Ekchian will talk about the technology learning pods for our elementary students that may have childcare challenges. And as I said, one of the biggest challenges that it's very near and dear to my heart that I hope that all of our students we are confident, we have faith in our educators, we are confident that the remote learning will go as best as possible, but the reality is that we have students with many challenges. We have students from, we have new immigrants, we have English learners, we have foster and homeless youth that Dr. Ilin Margan will talk about those. I mean, special ed students that really need extra support, and hopefully this distance learning will, hopefully not one student will fall through the cracks. So we have to make sure we're on top of it, and we'll provide support to all of our 26,000 students. Let's see. So this is more or less what we are where we are now. So on August 19th, we are planning to start our instructions full remotely. And after 2 months into the distance learning, we will revisit the situation. And if everything goes well, hopefully we will phase in some of the hybrid, phasing some of the students to be at the school site as a hybrid model. But I'll let Dr. Ekchian to talk about that more in detail. So that is my portion of introducing GUSD. And I would like to turn this over to our superintendent, Dr. Ekchian, to provide more details of what the plans are for August and how we are ready to welcome our students from distance.
Yeah,
Dr.
thank you very much, Dr. Ghrapetian, and we really appreciate all that you're doing. I know it is a colossal task to manage 26,000 students and all the facilities within the Glendale Unified School District, as well as, all the concerns of the parents and taking all the precautions and working with the various agencies that all are stakeholders in these decisions. We're truly honored to have Dr. Vivian Ekchian, who is the superintendent of the Glendale Unified School District. She became the school district as of July 1, and this serves the school district serves 26,000 students from pre-K through 12. Prior to coming to the Glendale Unified School District, she was the deputy superintendent of the Los Angeles Unified School District, which is the second largest school district in the nation, serving more than 600,000 pre-K through adult student learners across 1,100 schools and centers, where she worked for 34 years. She has dedicated her career to serving students with a focus on language learners, educators, and communities in a variety of roles, including teacher assistant, classroom teacher, principal, director of instructions, chief of staff, to the superintendent of the schools, chief human resources officer, chief labor negotiator, local district superintendent, associate superintendent, and interim superintendent. As a lifelong learner, Dr. Ekchian has a bachelor's degree and a teaching credentials from Cal State University in Northridge. She received her master's degree in education administration from the University of California in Los Angeles and a doctorate degree in education leadership from the University of Southern California. Dr. Ekchian, welcome to our webinar. We're really thankful for your participation. Please go ahead and take over this platform. Feel free to share your screen and look forward to hearing your remarks.
Thank you very much. So very kind of you to invite us, and such a pleasure to be serving our community in Glendale. I have to say that obviously the last 14 months as the superintendent of Glendale Unified School District has been a unique opportunity from many different perspectives, but I cherish every moment of it. I'm very grateful that I serve in this capacity. Thank you, Dr. Ghrapetian, as our board president, and thank you, Dr. Margan and the for joining me here today. So much of what Dr. Ghrapetian already mentioned, you may have heard about or read in paper or learned from community members. But it's also important for me to take a couple of minutes to go over the detail that it took for us to get to the place that we are, so that there's never an impression that we're not listening to our community. So my first slide is the Return to School Listening and Learning Tour. And we call it a tour because we've been making every attempt to meet with every stakeholder group possible over the period of the last 6 months to make sure that our community members know their voices are heard. So whether they come to meetings, are commenting on public comment, write to us by emails, or are part of the community that feels most comfortable coming to the district office, it all matters. Every voice matters to us, and student voices in particular have been highlighted in this experience. The 5 board members that I'm fortunate to report to certainly have supported this process every step of the way. And if we could just go for a moment, Dr. Margan is going to help navigate us to where our goals are. If we go back to the school district's goals, which is the slide before that on maximizing student achievement. Right here. At no point in time during this return to school or COVID experience have we lost the opportunity to continue to focus on what matters most to our students, which is maximizing their learning, creating a culture of learning in our school district, no matter which geographic area our school is located in, increasing engagement for parents, community members, employees, and partnerships like we have this evening with you, and maintaining district solvency and financial responsibility. And this certainly isn't a place where we are going to register our concern for education not being funded appropriately, but we just want to be clear that district solvency is a consideration that has to be given every time we take a step during our educational journey. So, you know already about the Listen and Learn tour. We took a look at it a minute ago. If we could move to the next slide, Dr. Margan. So most recently, as Dr. Ghrapetian mentioned, our virtual town hall and special board meetings were certainly a testament as to what everyone wanted from us. And I have to share with you, I have not received 2 emails that wanted the same thing. Every family is unique. Personalization is really important to us. So we have made plans that hopefully will meet the needs of each and every one of our students and community members. Next. Dr. Margan, I'm not able to move the slides you're holding them. Okay, so the district's decision-making factors for our purpose was to look at the opportunity, equity, wellness, and flexibility, and interpret them as our guiding principles. Because in order to be agile and flexible we were taking into consideration student and family preferences in our dialogues. Of course, equally important is our conversation with our unions, our labor partners, because the safety of our students and community members and employees is front and center in every one of our conversations. So as the pandemic continues to evolve, we have to remain agile and flexible as well. And we take considerations from public health, from the county, from the state, and often our decisions have to change overnight based on information that we receive from the state or the county or public health. So now we're looking at a phased reopening, phased because of the information that most recently became available to us in terms of the number of cases locally and within the city of Glendale and also in the county of Los Angeles. So full distance learning model with an option for a phased return to school was my recommendation to the Board of Education after collecting months and months of data of what was best for our students. So now I have an opportunity to share with you what that actually will look like. Are you slide?
Dr. Ekchian, if I may, there's a little bit of a muffling that is coming in and out. I'm not sure if...
So I can't be on mute, but if everyone else is, possibly that might work.
Yes, so I mean, that actually was better just now. So yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, very good. So as we look at a school year starting August 19th and ending on June 10th, we've divided the school year into quarters, which is pretty much with a reporting system of our students. So someone just sent me a message that my speaker is not working. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but again, it's muffling and speeding up and slowing down at times, but we can
May
hear
I
you.
make a suggestion, Dr. Ekchian? If you turn your video off, your sound will be much better for now, since you have the
Done.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you for the suggestion. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. So we have divided the school year into quarters, and right now starting on August 19th, and we hope to be able to gather additional data. Students will be in distance learning around October, and if that time we have information from public health that speaks to fewer cases and a better control of our COVID reactions, we will be at higher. So the next slide.
Yeah, it looks like we may have lost Dr. Ekchian. Can you hear us, Dr. Ekchian?
I am here and I can hear you. I'm sorry that you can't hear me. So should I check out and come back in?
No, it's fine now. Just continue now. Hopefully it's resolved.
Okay, I'm not moving and I'm continuing to focus on what we need to do for you. So let's go to the next slide. In our distance learning model, our students will remain assigned to their home school and their schedule will be consistent as they receive the schedule prior to the remote learning experience. So it will have daily live instruction. It will be synchronous and asynchronous, and they will be using a number of platforms. And teaching hours, teacher office hours will be available also for our students. We will make sure that significant technology training and support is available to our students, so there will never be a moment where they feel that they did not have the support that they needed. And our families will be also participating in trainings, and resources for our families will be made available remotely. Okay. Dr. Margan?
Dr. Ekchian, your sound is still not as clear as it should be.
The only choice I have is, I guess, to leave the meeting and come back in. I have not changed anything that would be significant or make a difference in this setting.
I mean, we could just hear you just fine. Maybe it's the proximity to the microphone.
I'm not sure what it is, but allow me to quickly go through a few slides and maybe spend some time answering questions, because
Yes.
I think until we got to the PowerPoint, we were fine. So allow us to do that.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, let's go to the next slide, Dr. Margan. So here's an example of why we have to meet the needs of our community members above beyond just a remote learning experience. When we conducted the survey as to how many of our parents needed childcare, it became clearly evident to us that 30.1% of our parents who were surveyed said that they needed childcare, and these were essential workers. These were who needed childcare for their kids, parents who in the past had free and subsidized meals. So the need definitely existed. Therefore, we decided that it was important for us to do something else different and innovative for our students that have not been offered in other school districts. So, and we created the distance learning technology pod. Let's go to the technology pod. On the next slide. So let's speak about the technology pods for a moment. But I have
Dr.
Dr.
Ekchian, we cannot, your sound is not clear.
Dr. Ekchian, one suggestion that has come from one of our viewers, that is your cell phone near the computer? That may cause...
I moved it.
Okay.
I moved it.
Maybe, well, let's continue. Let's see if that may do the trick.
Okay, so I moved my cell phones as far away as possible. Does that make a difference?
So far, yes.
Okay, good. So in our on-campus technology learning pods, we are starting out with our elementary students, and we're giving priority for students in free care, foster homeless youth, and workers. So they will be at school, and they will be supervised in a setting that is similar to childcare while they're learning from their teachers who are teaching remotely. These multi-age pods are organized by families in the same pod, so they're able to be at school together and go home together, and we're reducing the risk of any kind of COVID transmission with every day, and leading her in and support will be as safe as possible. And their nutrition, lunch, and recreation breaks will be together as well. So with the sound turn now?
No.
I'm so sorry.
It's again, it's coming in a little muffled. It resolves when we talk, but then it goes back. There's another suggestion in the chat, which says, please have her enable Wi-Fi on her cell phone if it's not yet enabled. This issue is due to her LTE connection on her cell phone, or she may be far away from her wireless router.
I did that too. I'm not here to argue technology with you, but I have been in Zoom settings all day long, and this is a unique opportunity, and I apologize that it has not worked out as far as.
Yeah. So now you're back to being perfect. So maybe let's continue. Dr. Ekchian, are you there?
You're on mute.
I do not show myself on mute.
Yeah, you're no longer on mute. Okay, Dr. Ekchian, you have gone back on mute. It's showing here that you are on mute.
I am not doing it here, so.
Yeah. So now you're fine. Yeah, let's continue.
Okay. I'm not touching my screen at all. I just want you to know that. There is a suggestion that I call in. And if you would like to, Dr. Ghrapetian and Dr. Margan, go to the section on mental health, and we'll return to this, and I will call in. That way I'm not wasting the time of our participants. Would you like to do that? And I will call in meanwhile.
We hear you very clear at this moment, though.
It started working again now. So maybe let's continue for another minute. If it gets muffled again, then we'll do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So let's move to the next slide. So eventually, when we go to a hybrid model, which will be a schedule that will have half of our students on our campus, we will be looking at a group that comes on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then a different group that comes on Thursdays and Fridays. And we will use Wednesdays for intervention, for specific collaboration with small groups. And at the same time, we will give our schools the opportunity to do even more deep cleaning on campus. So this is a model that possibly in October will become available for our communities, depending on the health information that is shared with us throughout the state, and particularly in LA County. Are you still with me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's go to the next slide. So before we transition to student wellness services, I just wanted to summarize that remote learning is something we're starting August 19th, where our students will primarily be learning from home, but at the time that is a transition period, and we hope to be able to have our students come back on campus when our public health information is allowing us to bring most students back. But in October or later, depending on when that information is available, we have set up a hybrid model where half of the students will be coming on campus. And throughout this time, what will matter the most for us is, of course, their educational experience, but at the same time, the support they will be receiving for mental health and guidance that is more difficult in a setting remote from school, but nothing stops us from being able to reach out to them. And Dr. Margan will go into details of the ways in which we have been reaching out and the panel discussions we've had with parents and the tele support that we've offered. Meanwhile, I will check to see if I can call in so that the conversation can continue meaningfully. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ekchian. And just the last few minutes were, we could hear you perfectly, so perhaps the issue is resolved. But in any event, we should make preparations for a call-in if need be. But thank you very much for that presentation and the overview. Our next presenter is Dr. Ilin Margan, who serves as the Director of Student Wellness Services Department at the Glendale Unified School District. Dr. Margan received her undergraduate degree in psychology from the University of California, Los Angeles. She also received her Master's of School Counseling and Master's of School Psychology from the University of Laverne in 2003 and 2008, respectively. Her love for higher education and following her dreams led her to complete her doctorate degree in education leadership from the University of Southern California, where she graduated in 2015. She began her career in education as a school counselor in 2003 in Monrovia Unified School District, working in a diverse community with at-risk youth. In 2011, Dr. Margan joined Glendale Unified School District as a psychologist, as a visionary leader and an educational advocate for the homeless, foster, and the at-risk students. Dr. Margan leads plans and coordinates the day-to-day operations of Students Wellness Services Department. She also oversees attendance, mental health, and internship academy, suicide prevention training, and parent engagement at Glendale Unified School District. Dr. Margan, at this point, I'd like to invite you to please go ahead and take over this platform. If you would like to share slides, please do so. And we look forward to hearing your remarks.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Sepilian, and also Dr. Garlsyan, and of course, our Board of Education President, Dr. Ghrapetian, our Superintendent, Dr. Ekchian, and also my colleague, Michelle Green. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you about all the services that our department and our school district has for our community. I will go ahead and share my screen right now. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So services that are provided from our department to our students at Glendale Unified School District is it's tracking attendance and providing interventions. We know that if students are not attending school on a regular basis, they might have a barrier attending school. Therefore, contacting the families and also the student and reaching out, providing the interventions that they need and services is vital. And also a huge component of our department is providing individual counseling, and they are provided by either mental health clinicians, MFT trainees, school counseling, or social work interns. Last year, we had 43 social work and school counseling interns from our department. And also we had 3 therapists that served our uninsured students. Students and families who have Medi-Cal insurance, the referrals are passed to our community agencies, and 2 big agencies that we work with are Pacific Clinics and D.D. Hirsch in Glendale. Of course, group counseling is another component of the counseling aspect and reaching out to our students. We have noticed lately that we have a lot of parents, we have a lot of loss of parents at young age, young students. So therefore, we started grief counseling sessions and also social skills groups for students. Parent engagement, as we know, is a huge component of a student's success in school. Therefore, we have huge parenting classes, parenting engagement groups that we run from our department. Depending on the need of the site and the principal's request, that's when we host, and I'll talk about them a little bit later. I mentioned about the intern academy. We had about 43 interns last year that served all of our schools at Glendale. And currently we have 30, and we're still in the recruitment process for the school opening. We also serve our foster and homeless youth in Glendale. Last year, we had about 100 foster and homeless students, and we know those are the population that really needs the help and the services. And therefore, we service them, whether it's mental health or tutoring, or Dr. Ghrapetian mentioned about, providing them access to technology during their remote times, and also nutrition is the biggest component. Suicide prevention, QPR, and youth mental health first aid trainings are another big component. We love to train our community members, our staff, community parents, anybody who's engaged and is working with our youth to know and learn about warning signs of depression, and also if they're encountered and working with a youth that is suicidal, how to assist and where to refer. So some of the services that we provided, mental health services prior to COVID-19, our intern academy, they served about 580 students. That means individually, every student will have 30 to 1 hour sessions at the school site. Counseling that was provided by licensed therapists, we served about 131 students, and 136 students were referred to Pacific Clinics and D.D. Hirsch. As Dr. Ekchian and also Dr. Ghrapetian mentioned, this was a total different shift in education, whether it is learning in a classroom or providing services such as mental health to our youth. We quickly had to get the consent forms and provide telehealth counseling to our students. We served about 125 students with our interns. We know that not every student is equipped with either technology or the private space at home. So it was difficult. We went from 580 to 125 students. Or some families are doubled up and it's very difficult to find a space for privacy. Our licensed clinicians served about 80 students, and also 81 students were served by D.D. Hirsch and Pacific Clinic. So right after the pandemic and the school closure, we received a lot of emails and requests from our PTA and also community members, parents, that they were anxious and nervous, and they wanted to know how they can support their students. We already had a mental health forum that was supposed to happen end of March, but with this, we went virtual. Our full PTA was the driver of this event, and we hosted that virtually. We had Dr. Ekchian, our total PTA president, and also some community agencies and our department members present to our families and communities leaders of just signs of depression, and what do you look for, and what are your role as a parent, and what do you do, and if you need any further help, where do you seek? So that was a very, very successful event. We had, I believe, over 2,000 or so viewers on Facebook and social media that we hosted. We are in the plan of hosting another forum that will discuss about all the services that we'll provide once school reopens, but we don't have a date yet. So we will definitely post that once the information is ready. So So as I mentioned, parenting and parent engagement is a huge component of student success. And we thought that not only we have to serve and assist our students that are in need, but also parents. So quickly we formed our parenting session. We called it parenting support groups with the help and support of our amazing interns and therapists and our clinicians in the department. We came up with a curriculum, and for 8-week duration, we talked and discussed about different topics. One, for example, was what are the signs of depression? What, and if you do notice that somebody is depressed or has any suicidal ideation, where do you go for support? We talked about mindfulness and what it is for a legal guardian or a parent to take care of themselves before they can take care of their students. We talked about stress management. We talk about, now that we are in closure, now that we are in pandemic, how do you spend and utilize the whole time that you have with your family, building lasting family memories. So every week we had a different discussion, different topic, and we held these classes in 3 languages. It was in English and Armenian and Spanish. The reason behind that is we wanted the parents to connect with the therapists that were running the sessions with their own comfort level instead of using our translators in the department. So as you could see, 44 parents attended the weekly sessions, and it was a huge success. So of course, we can't do anything without our amazing students at Glendale Unified. We were receiving a lot of calls and a lot of emails from some parents saying that students are very isolated, they're lonely, they're not seeing their friends. Therefore, we developed groups we called it student support groups for elementary, middle, and high schools. And as you can see, 88 students participated in weekly support groups. Those groups were held by a clinician and also the interns in the district office. And I have to say that probably the most successful was the elementary students. They joined in every week and they were very happy to see their fellow friends online. Also, we cannot forget our, LGBTQ groups, and without even thinking about, if we should do a survey or not, we said that we need to develop a curriculum to support our students. This was one of the smaller sessions. We only had 2 students participate, but you know what? It was again a successful partnership with our interns and our therapists, and we are planning on continuing those sessions once school starts. One thing that Glendale Unified, of course, it does really well is to have a lot of community partners. We can't function and we can't, produce what we have without our partners in the community. We partnered with City of Glendale's Community Service and Parks. They have events at evenings, and I was one of the presenters to their teen night out. We had parents and students join. Again, the discussions were similar to what is the impact of COVID-19 on the teens, specifically now that they are not able to socialize and go out. And it was a huge success. So we had 2 different events. So as I mentioned, we discuss and talk about mindfulness and mediation. So throughout the pandemic, the interns thought maybe how can they connect with the families and our students? And they came out with videos, and they started forming some clips weekly, and we posted on our social media, and also and it was presented to our community. I think I'm getting a text that I have to shift are you able to view my slides?
Yes, but put it on presentation mode so we can see the full screen of the slide.
Oh, okay, sorry, let me see.
There you go.
Sorry. So this was the last slide I presented, May 15th and May 8th. We had those events with City of Glendale. And now I wanted to share a mediation video that was presented and shared with our community. So if you don't mind, it's about 2 minutes, but I think it's worthwhile sharing this video with everyone.
Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Natalie, and today I wanted to try something with you guys. I'm going to do a 2-minute guided meditation, and so the purpose of this exercise is to help you feel more relaxed and more connected with who you are. Meditation is a practice that can help us control our own mind, and essentially even our own lives. Personally, meditation is a way for me to recharge my batteries and to calm my mind down. Has it ever happened to you where your mind just has completely taken over? You're not able to take some thoughts out of your head and you don't have a lot of energy and you're even too tired to sleep. Meditating helps us control our mind and thoughts, and it allows us to turn our mind off when we don't need it anymore. Meditation can help us eliminate these negative thoughts, these worries, these stresses that we may have, and any factors that prevent us from feeling happy. Allow yourself to be still for a moment. And allow your eyes to become closed. Now take a deep breath in and let it go with a sigh. And again, deep breath in and sigh it out. Breathing again, and as you exhale, let go of any worries, any concerns, any negative thoughts. With every exhale, allowing any tension to melt away from your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. Just for this moment, letting go of everything, any worries, any concerns, knowing that you can always come back and take care of these later. Now settle into this space of ease and comfort, where there's nothing to do except relax and enjoy this feeling. And whenever you're ready to fully come back into your body and feeling relaxed, serene, and ready for whatever lies ahead, just remember to keep breathing. And whenever you are ready, you can come back.
you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So hopefully that was a moment that every one of us we could have taken to relax and meditate. But that was just a sample and a model that I wanted to show that is being utilized in our classrooms, you know, before sessions start at times to give some space and time for students to calm down and also to connect with their peers. The next few slides, I will just glance through, but I wanted to share that you know, our department came up with curriculum for mindfulness per grade level. So we had resources out to our staff and our teachers for elementary school mindfulness ideas. So as you could see, this one is for elementary. So it says hot cocoa breathing. You basically, you know, so it's a great activity that a group of classroom, doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in Zoom or physically in a classroom, but you can connect with the similar activity. Next was middle school and mindfulness week. Again, there's a video here, but for the sake of time, I don't think I would like to show that. There's another clip that I would like to share with you. But again, it is per grade and age level. And, you know, we have mindfulness curriculum to share with our students. And, you know, it is always beneficial to connect with your students before your instruction starts. This is something similar for our high school students. This one particular, we say that, you know, pick an object, a natural object, and you know, and talk about it and think about it. And that gives you a little bit of time away from your daily activity and the stressors, and your only focus is that object that you are holding. So that was it. So this morning I had a meeting with a couple of our teachers and also our executive director of elementary. And we are working on putting together curriculum and also mindfulness activities for our teachers to utilize in their classrooms once we start in August. So this was a video that our amazing interns created before they departed, and I would like to share this with you.
Hi, my name is Natalie.
Hi, my name is Connor, and we just want to take a moment to thank all the staff and faculty at GUSD.
We want to say thank you for providing us with the opportunity to continue providing resources for our families.
We also want to take a moment to appreciate our Board of Education, our school superintendent, Dr. Vivian Ekchian, and the director of the Student Wellness Services Department, Dr. Ilin Margan, for setting a foundation for all of us to provide services to our students and families to our best capability.
We are so grateful and thankful for all of the opportunities given to us, and as members of the Intern Academy, we feel as though we are prepared and have the necessary tools to continue our endeavors.
I'm trying to move my slide, but I think it's stuck on this. I'm so sorry. Okay. So that was a little appreciation video that I wanted to share. I have to say that Glendale is blessed to have amazing school counselors in each one of our school sites in the elementary, in the middle and the high school and also our school psychologists that are working and are supporting our students. But the Intern Academy gives us an opportunity to add more support, and also there are extra bodies and that are connecting and are engaging our students and our parents to our community. The last two slides I will share is our suicide prevention and also all the trainings that we host in the community. And these trainings are free for any member of our community or parents that are enrolling. So QPR is question, persuade, and refer. Our department was blessed to write a grant with Glendale Youth Alliance, and we were recipients of some funding. Therefore, we are reaching out to our community and our parents to engage and educate them about, again, signs of depression and warning signs and how to engage. So question, persuade, and refer is questioning if a person is suicidal, persuade the individual to get assistance, and also refer the individual to the appropriate source, which would be telling the parents and the community that we have staff members here in the district office, at the school sites, your counselors, your sites, and your admin, when and how to get help as needed. These trainings, we had a few already. We have one tomorrow from 5:30 to 6:30. Last I checked, we had 19 parents signed up. We still can take about 15 parents for tomorrow's session. So if anybody is interested, the duration of the training is about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So if you are interested, please email me, and my email address is on the flyer, imagrin@gusd.net, and we are able to add you for tomorrow's training from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And my last slide and last thing that I would share is our youth mental health first aid training. Again, this is free of charge for our community members and also to our parents. Youth mental health training before the pandemic was an all-day 8-hour training, and we were happy to share that we trained about 45 community members, including GYA staff and also staff from YWCA and other agencies. But now during the pandemic, this training is online, of course, and it is 4 hours. And on the flyer, we have listed the dates that we will be hosting. August 6th is the first one, August 12th, and August 17th is the next one. Again, we are taking enrollment. We still have room for each one of them. If you're interested, you can reach out to our department or email me, and we can definitely add you to a list. And again, similar thing, youth mental health teaches and shares with the community and the parents what are the warning signs, what to look for, and what to do in case you are in reach working with youth and think and know that they need help. So it's more educational, and I think every single parent or community member that is working with our youth should know about the warning signs and what to do. So that was it for my presentation. I believe it is our health services coordinator, Michelle Green, next, but
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Margan, for for that presentation. And I'm sure there will be some questions already. I've gotten some messages regards to that last program, the mental health program, and regards to who can participate, but we'll get to the questions at the end. We have with us Michelle Green, who serves as the coordinator in Health Services Department at the Glendale Unified School District. She's in charge of school nurses and health clerks for all of the Glendale Unified School District schools. Michelle Green graduated from San Diego State University School of Nursing with her bachelor's degree in nursing. Upon graduation, she entered an internship at Children's Hospital Los Angeles' neonatal intensive care unit, where she remained for 10 years, providing nursing care in the tertiary care unit that included ECMO nursing and discharge planning. Michelle started as a school nurse in Alhambra Unified School District. She received her school nurse credentials at Fresno State University and went on to complete her master's degree in education leadership and administration credential from Azusa Pacific University. Michelle has lived in Glendale, La Cañada area for over 30 years. All three of her children have attended Glendale Unified School District schools. And I can say, having had rotated through neonatal intensive care unit and having had some, very, very intense evenings, I could tell you that the NICU nurses are the best of the best. They're the capabilities and skills and are really sharp and top of the nursing field. Michelle, please go ahead and take over this platform. We're really honored to have you present to our audience.
Thank you, and thank you for that introduction. And thank you to the Armenian American Medical Society, our Board of Education, Dr. Ekchian and Dr. Ghrapetian, for giving me this opportunity to talk about our student health and our technology pods and going back to school. I have had a lot of people ask me, Michelle, can we do this? Can we do this safely? And I think we can. And I'm really proud of Dr. Ekchian and our Board of Education and this really fantastic plan that they've put together in their technology pods to provide care for our really at-risk students, students who might not be able to access, online learning or distance learning because their parents are at work or because they're English language learners. I've talked to many parents in parent groups, and math is hard. Math is hard if you haven't been doing math in 25, 30, or 40 years. And to teach your child math is even more difficult. So we went by what the LA County Department of Public Education or Department of Health required of us. We went through every single step and decided what we needed to do and what we had to do to make sure that our students were safe at school in their learning environment in these technology pods, which are starting on August 19th and which have been going on. I think, Dr. Ekchian, did you speak to that with our triple ELP program started on July 1st? So we have a couple programs going on right now. And the advantage of that is it gives us the opportunity to identify our strengths and our weaknesses. Primarily our strengths. We're going to go with strengths because we're doing, I think, a really fantastic job. One of the big things that we're going to be doing, and we are doing to ensure health is, and it's a requirement from the public health department, is to do daily health checks. And that's not just a temperature screening. We are doing those, but it's also talking to the person and asking if they've had any certain symptoms. When I'm speaking to our employees, I'm saying, our first defense is actually an offensive move. It's identifying people and asking them to identify themselves first thing in the morning if they're not feeling well. And then we check again when they get to the school site or to the work site. I am impressed and have to pat myself and Dr. Kelly King and Dr. Ekchian and my supervisor, Ago. Will not try to say his last name because I will mess it up completely and embarrass myself. But we've ordered all of our equipment, ordered it back in March and April when we saw that this was happening. So when we look at protective gear for our employees and for our students, the majority of it we already have. We have cloth face coverings for all of our students and all of our employees. We have medical grade masks. We have on order our N95 masks, which will only be used. Dr. Ghrapetian mentioned our college view school. We do have students in the district who are on ventilators and require suctioning, and those aerosolized procedures will require our employees to wear N95 masks, face shields, and coverings for their clothing. And we have those available, all except the N95 masks, which are on back order. We have shields, 30,000 face shields. along with all of our masks. The district has done a fantastic job with signage to remind students and staff to maintain 6 feet of physical distancing. Very nice signs that say Glendale Unified School District and watch your way and which way to go. You mentioned that my children were Glendale Unified School District students. And one of the things that I always thought was really cute, at Rosemont, they said, stay polite, or stay to the right, be polite. So if you're going one way, you're always going the right way. So that's one other thing we're doing, is doing directions to make sure that they're, one entrance, one exit, that students aren't going to be passing along the way. So that's 3 of the big steps. And these are all based on the LA County Department of Public Health recommendations. Eileen, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. Hand sanitizers. We do have hand sanitizers. We have hand washing stations. I never knew this would happen, but all of our water faucets have been changed to hand washing stations. We're adapting our schedules so that the children have a lot more opportunities and time and are required to wash their hands more often, before eating, after playing, after using the restroom. Really teaching them proper hand washing and hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is available if we need it, but the preference is always hand washing with warm water and soap. Health services. This is a big deal for me. I want to make sure that all of our students and staff are healthy and in their health. One of the things that's really nice, starting off with our technology pods, is, there are 10 students. And sometimes there are 10 students and 3 and 4 families. So if something were to happen where someone got sick, we are keeping it in one spot, keeping it the number of people that could possibly be exposed limited, those numbers limited. But we do have a plan in place if someone does become sick, either an adult or a student, in isolating, quarantining them over the summer and during our off time, not off time, our remote time. We had a very large number of school nurses and health clerks. Each one of our school sites has a health clerk. Some of them are LVNs, but they almost all did the Johns Hopkins contact tracing course. So we will be able to, if we do identify a person that is positive for COVID, we can go back and do some really good contact tracing, identify those who may have been exposed. We'll be working with the county. If we get a certain number of cases, we won't have a choice but to bring in the county, but we will be doing a lot of ours in-house because we can do it. It's really nice. I was really happy that our health clerks were willing to do that. The enhanced daily cleaning protocols. I've learned more about cleaning products than I don't think ever wanted to know, but I do know now. And our FASO staff, our facility staff, is doing a great job in getting our classrooms and our sites ready. The technology pods, I got to see them before the students came, and the desks are all set up in rows. They each have their own box of supplies. They each have anything that they were going to use is their own personal stuff. They're not sharing anything, and that includes outdoor equipment. Although the play structures are kind of off, they are not kind of, they are off. They can't be used. But the students do have balls and hula hoops and other things that they can use during their playtime, because we do need to get the kids outside and moving rather than being sitting in all day long. But these cleaning products will be used if we have an emergency and that disinfection is required. We have the products, and the FASOS team knows how to do it correctly. Eileen? Oh, that's it. Questions?
All right, great. Thank you very much. That was actually very informative, and it's great to see that all the, preparedness and all the health precautions that are, taking place. At this point, I'd like to open up the forum for any type of questions or any comments, or if any of our speakers would like to elaborate any further. There are some questions that have come through from Facebook, which I am monitoring, and I'll share. There is a question in the Q&A section that says, what are the advantages of online learning?
I'm now using my phone to speak. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you would have to mute the computer.
I have. So what I'm going to do is participate in this just with the call, and you won't see me. I'll turn myself out, but I'll continue.
But if you turn the volume down on the speakers of your computer completely, and then mute.
I have. So let me just participate by phone and leave the meeting.
Okay.
It's so frustrating. I couldn't get online at the start of this and my heart was racing, and it's just so frustrating to be ready and not able to do the.
Yeah.
This is a real life experience with distance learning.
Yeah, but you know, one way or another, we get through it, and we get the message across, and we get all our questions answered and comments heard. So while we're waiting for Dr. Ekchian, I don't know if anybody else would like to take a stab at the question of the advantages of online learning.
So let me just say, the advantages of distance learning, it is an advantage right now, obviously, because imagine if we didn't have the technology, we had to provide everything with papers, and how could we connect with our students if technology wasn't there? So advantages are that we are able to remotely connect with our students. But obviously, as I said, I'm a parent myself. I have 3 kids, and I know that, maybe remote learning gives a little bit more flexibility to some students that, can't wake up early. They just need the flexibility of learning, or, for certain reasons, they are more distracted in the classroom, but with the distance learning. So there are different scenarios and factors that plays in it, but obviously I'm a parent, and I know that the distance learning for a long period of time, it is not beneficial to the students. So that's my point of view. There are many, education is moving more towards that. But to be honest with you, for me, schooling is a whole different thing than distance learning. So Dr. Ekchian, would you like to, let's see if we can find her.
Is she here? So while we're waiting for Dr. Ekchian, I'll just mention Dr. Sepilian. It's a great question. What is online learning and how is it? We all know that each individual student learns very differently. I believe that online learning has really excelled and worked on some students, and they've done extraordinary. We get emails and calls from parents that it is working, and they do not want to return to in the face and classroom instruction. But then on the other hand, you will see that there are a lot of students that are missing their friends. As Dr. Ghrapetian mentioned, learning for students, it's not just the education of the material, but it is a connection and the connectiveness and the social emotional and the well-being. It's your playtime if you're little with your students. So it is very different from one student to another.
Right.
I think my door, hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with every, with every new technology, there are pluses and minuses. And I think that the physical interaction, in-person interaction is an important component. In some facets, even in healthcare, things have changed. And hey, there you are. Even in healthcare.
I ran down 4 stairs of, I'm on the first floor now. I took over Dr. Magran's computer because It was just not working. So here I'm back.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Great. So I
And
was
we'll
just
share the screen. Depending on what the question is, we'll just move back and forth the old-fashioned way. We're sisters in this endeavor, so we'll make it work.
awesome. You know, I was just making a comment insofar as many aspects of life have shifted with remote interactions, including healthcare. We've had to switch a lot of our visits to you know, telemedicine, to with virtual consults and so on. And of course, you know, in some facets it has some advantages, but also some, you know, significant disadvantages, because it truly takes away from that, you know, face-to-face human interaction, which is so important in many aspects, including healthcare and, more importantly, I think, education. But Dr. Ekchian, I'd love to hear your take on what are some of the advantages of online learning.
So I think what we have done is we've closed the digital divide. And you may have heard about that in a national setting, that generally students of color, students who are disadvantaged, historically underrepresented, don't have access to devices at home. And if devices are not used in the classroom and not provided to them, they're automatically starting at a disadvantage and are not college, career, and life ready. So although our school district had done a fantastic job of preparing, but it was not as even as it will be now. Not every school had the same number of devices, nor the training necessary for our adults to be able to use them for the delivery of instruction. Now we have an opportunity at the silver lining to say we had to do everything much more quickly. But the learnings from that allow us to design our professional development for our adults, engage our community for the importance of use of technology. We're preparing our kids for what college will be like. And at the same time, many of our kids, particularly parents of students with special needs, have indicated that the ability to focus one-to-one, teacher to the student, if used appropriately, is even more focused. So the social, emotional, mental health part is the one that we were most worried about, because learning can be accelerated and be made up. Even if you miss a lesson, if you know how to learn, you can make up for that time very quickly. But the reality is we've closed the digital divide. We have invested, as Dr. Ghrapetian said, in more than 10,000 devices overnight. We've learned now which families do not have internet connectivity, and we've provided them with that. In the past, we would not have necessarily done such an intrusive survey to know of who needed what. So we're really, really happy that we will never go back to the old, because we will be better as a result of it. And our educators have been phenomenal in overnight becoming users of devices, and the courage necessary to be able to teach differently without knowing that this would happen so quickly. So thank you for the opportunity to share my perspective on that.
Of course, of course. And just as a follow-up comment, and there's a participant that says, thank you all. My questions comes from an optimistic point of view, because we often find ourselves in tremendous uncertainty, which can be overwhelming for schools and our communities. Normal, in parentheses, or in quotes, I should say, was clearly hiding certain gaps in schools all over the nation. And maybe now that the pandemic has exposed existing inequities, this new school setting could be a window of opportunity. My question for you is, what do you hope, and hope is capitalized, will come out of this? All this planning, all this new investment modifications, how do we use this opportunity not only for reopening plan, but to put together a better and equitable learning environment? What are your hopes? And this question is coming, by the way, from a a school counselor, a college counselor, guidance counselor, who is very reputable. And actually, I really love this comment and the question, and would love to hear all of the panelists' input on this.
Well, because I was first muted and disabled from my ability to communicate widely, may I take a stab at it, Dr. Ghrapetian, and then I will offer you
Of course.
Thank you. So it has given us an opportunity to collaborate more closely with our community and parents than ever before. Believe it or not, parent engagement is at the highest level we've ever had in our school district. And the voices that are heard, particularly also from our students, is remarkable on what they would like to see happen in schools and in their educational programs. At the same time, it's united us as a city to put the safety of our students and communities first. So our collaboration with our hospitals, with our police department, with agencies is different than it's ever been before, because COVID has brought us together in a way that we never thought. And it has allowed us to also focus on the opportunity gap for our students, because it is true, like the person that you read the question from, it's a behind the curtain look for us of who needs what. And equal does not mean equity. So we have to focus on differentiating our resources even further for the families and students who have greater needs. So I'll hand it off to Dr. Ghrapetian.
No, I think you said it really well. I think something, I know it's weird to say something positive will come out of this, but I think at the end of when this is all done and this is all over, I think our educational system is in will be in a different place for good. And as Dr. Ekchian mentioned, I'm part of the PTA and part of so many nonprofit organizations. And to be honest with you, with the Zoom meetings, the participation has been, the engagement has been through the roof. You know, people can log in, which, you know, from their homes, and they don't have to travel to meetings. And it has been a positive thing. Yes, we have, unfortunately, we will be investing a lot of resources and a lot of task force to get there, to get to the ultimate place that we want to be. But you know, this isn't, you know, we're an educational institution, and you know, we have to do what's right for our student. As long as we have our student as our focus, I think you know, I'm ready to invest as much as possible to make this right.
Yes, indeed, and that question or comment came from Ms. Maria Kevorkian, who in the chats thanks both of you and says agreed. I'd like to invite Dr. Garlsyan, by the way, Dr. Kevin Garlsyan, please to jump in and co-moderate. He has some questions that have come in from some students of the Glendale Unified School District. Dr. Garlsyan, if you can go ahead and share some of the questions that have come in from the students.
So there's questions coming thanks to my daughter, who is she's in the 10th grade, and their questions come from her and her classmates, and they just text me another one. There's a question regarding when will students be able to get on the campus if they need it?
Okay, so we have a couple of things. While we're still in distance learning, they will be scheduled to come and pick up, whether it's a device or textbooks, but they will be scheduled by invitation. So we're able to continuously physically distance and be safe and make sure that we're masked and everyone is coming to pick up their materials. If it's for school, we're hoping that in the fall, when the improvements are seen by public health and the data on COVID is stabilized, that we will transition to a hybrid model.
Thank you. I like it.
Let me
Please.
add, Dr. Garlsyan. So the Glendale Unified School District is probably one of the few school districts in the neighboring cities that have decided not to go full distance learning for the entire semester. So we will be revisiting this issue in October after the first quarter, and I think we have made a really good decision to go that way, because at that point we will know more if we can phase in students into hybrid model, and I think we did the right thing not to go full distance for the entire semester.
Thank you. I like this question. Will the requirements for high school student graduates be modified due to the coronavirus, such as the community services?
So one of the things we were able to do during the spring was change the grading system. But for the fall, we are going back to the full grading system because the schedule will be a regular school day as far as the number of hours in instruction. And if modifications have to be made, we have to individualize that by course, by student, by class. But if the question was, are we going to be giving grades to our students? Absolutely.
So there will be grades, not just a fail and pass. They will be grades.
That was for a short period of time because it was a hold harmless period of time for our students as we transitioned very quickly into remote learning. This is now distance learning, and the rules of the engagement are fully accountable for all parties, including our students. And we look forward to giving them A's that they will deserve because they'll be working really
I'm sure
hard.
a lot of them listening today, so they should be ready for A. Will class be started at the usual time, or will be some modifications with hours?
We intend to keep the schedule the same so that all families know when school starts and when school ends, and they can coordinate and organize for success.
Mm-hmm. Actually, there is a question just come up. Will students be taking the CASP the next spring?
So that is something on hold by the state. So the minute we have additional information, we will be publicly sharing it, but that's a state decision.
Mm-hmm. And this is actually, I like this one. It's very important. Actually, a lot of people will be interested to hear about this. I just gonna read it. Will teachers be lecturing and explaining lessons rather than just assigning assignments? Here, will teacher have actual interaction online to make optional to join online video like we do in Zooming, basically? It's probably coming from the previous classes we had this just before summertime. So thank you.
I think our entire school community is much better prepared, 100% collaborative, working towards being with their students for direct synchronous and asynchronous instruction. When they meet with the students during their orientation, because now grade levels are changing too, they will provide an extensive amount of detail of what that will look like. But definitely AB 77, SB 98, and our commitment of our educators and our school district dictate that there will be both live instruction and also assignments and small group instruction and also large group. They are as excited as the students are to be back together. Dr. Ghrapetian, did you want to, or Dr. Margan, comment on that? We have actually teachers that have been writing to me in the chat as participants, and we all miss them. We all miss each other.
What about the sport activity? Because some, like my son, goes to a Rose Bowl Aquatic, and now they offering even Zooming classes for the students for swimming. But I know that health education also important in school. So what options we can offer to the students regarding of their sport activities? Because a lot of classes are limited or absolutely closed.
So the information obviously was changing. For a very short window of time, public health gave us the opportunity to even do conditioning, physically distanced at our school sites. Unfortunately, because of the most recent data on COVID-19, we no longer are able to offer that. Our CIF just recently indicated that activity, sports, athletics will not happen on field and in person until the second semester. So all the game schedules had to be changed. But on health and wellness, there's still a lot that we can do, and physical education will be taught online. And if Dr. Margan would like to comment on that, feel free to do so. I've hijacked her laptop, but I think she deserves the opportunity.
I wanted to, they can see me. Hi, everyone. I believe there was a question.
We need to physically distance.
Oh, physically, I forgot my bad.
6 feet.
So I believe there was a question about community service hours for the high school students, correct? And I think that's something that, you know, Dr. Ekchian and the administrators possibly will, you know, discuss and come up with a plan, because I believe that high school students need some community service hours to graduate. But I have to say that if they're ever in need, there's a lot of work to be done in our department, and also in virtually helping us and putting curriculum together and activities. You saw those amazing videos that was produced. So if need be, we definitely can support the students for their community service hours. So thank you, Dr. Esson.
Thank you. Dr. Sepilian, please join us.
So we have a question and a comment from Nishan that says, thank you to all the panelists for taking their time to bring us up to date. How do teachers feel that potentially they will have many parents as guests in their classrooms, and how are parents expected to act if there's an issue with what is taught or how a student is treated in the classroom? Thank you.
So,
and Nishan, I presume you mean this like parents as a guest, as in while the virtual guests, not physical guests.
So our relationships have not changed. If anything, they have improved, because what matters most to us are our students. So we are going to remind everyone of our roles and responsibilities and expectations and procedures and routines that work best. So if we were to interrupt a lesson, that possibly wouldn't be good for any of our students. We will schedule appointments. Our teachers will be very accommodating in wanting to connect with the parents. Our administrators will still be in charge to continue to facilitate. And we will work out these scheduling opportunities so parents can be heard, teachers have a chance to communicate within a certain amount of time, and most importantly, students should feel that we're all on the same team.
Of course. So we have another comment and a question from Neda Farhumand that says, Glendale Unified School District has done a tremendous job putting together an opening plan that is by all accounts a model for the state to follow. Much has been learned and a tremendous growth has occurred in areas of infrastructure and engagement with stakeholders. What would you say has been the silver lining in all of this? What areas are you most proud of? Nice move, Dr. Ekchian, they comment.
I think the strength of our community, our educators and our students has been tested, including the physicians and the essential workers who've come forward and really put our kids first. That is probably the greatest accomplishment that I want to give kudos to the community. We are here to serve as a school district. We're not deserving of any recognitions or compliments. It's our job. That is who we are. I think resilience and grit, our ability to deal with uncertainty, our ability to be agile, these are the leadership qualities that will take our students much further in life than they ever recognize now.
Of course, and it is truly times where, you know, our resilience and grit and qualities are being tested on a day-to-day basis, as there is so much adversity, there is so much uncertainty. Nevertheless, we're finding a way to not just make through it, but also finding a way to improve and seeing it as an opportunity and improving ourselves and thriving as a result.
So may I just add one thing that is really front and center. Our board's recognition that we needed something above and beyond any other school district was 100% because many of our parents are going through a tremendous amount of stress, many of them through financial stress because positions they had, jobs they had, restaurants they were running, overnight have turned into something that doesn't exist anymore. So our ability to support our parents in this process is equally important as educating our students, because what happens at home impacts how a student can learn. So our eliminating the barriers of childcare was really a significant move for us to take one burden off the shoulders of our parents in being able to facilitate the learning from school sites for those who needed to be at work but couldn't leave their children alone. So that's probably that's the silver lining, another one that we're very proud of.
Of course. You know, there is a question regarding meals, and I believe this was briefly addressed. Mr. Cohen is asking and participating from the East Coast, actually. Are students who depend on meals be able to access meal programs safely?
Every day we have served meals throughout the summer and will continue to serve. We started with 12 campuses. We had 9 during the summer. The number of meals served has only increased, and that also speaks to the need in our community. And we will continue to do so because breakfast and lunch will be always available, and we are not differentiating between students. We're not asking them to give us their names or have to identify themselves in ways that perhaps may be labeling them or embarrassing them. There's no food shaming in GUSD.
Of course, yeah. You know, I'd like to note that when we started this webinar, you know, Dr. Garlsyan was at home, and now he's in the hospital. And during this webinar, he's already delivered at least one baby and has another one in labor. You know, you may have tried to pull a fast one, Dr. Garlsyan, but I noticed, and I checked with the hospital.
One more student for GUSD.
Actually, since there was, will be interesting to look at some studies, the efficiency of this online education versus the traditional, and see what's the benefits, where we're losing, where we're gaining. I'm hoping some studies will be done to review in comparisons between this year and past years when we did not have online education. Do you think something like this will be done in the long run? Because I don't believe next few months we'll be going back to the traditional schools.
Perhaps I'm understanding the question correctly, so correct me if I'm not. Blended learning has existed for a long time, and there's a lot of research about distance learning. And there are many schools that do this year in, year out. The models are very different, and there will be kids that will prefer this over the other. So at the end of the day, there isn't one option that works for every child. So from a parent's perspective, we really need to examine which child benefits from which type of learning most and accommodate according to that. I hope I understood the question. Yes. There's a lot of research being done, but there's already decades of research available on blended learning and distance learning.
I can actually bring up my own personal example, how it's going in my house, because unfortunately with computers, they get in access to additional information which they don't need during their study time, correct? So, and I just want to advise to the other parents, there's programs where on the time of education, because they have to be in front of computer, there is a limitation of the Wi-Fi access to which programs they can join and what they can look at. And that way they don't have any distractions to the period of time they are the school hours. And for us, actually, personally, now my family, it works very well.
That's a really good suggestion. Connecting to what I saw in the chat of the frustration around technology not working, and parents feeling helpless. We're trying to resolve that. We will have additional webinars for parents in advance. And we hope to also increase the support for technology. So when you are caught in this moment where nothing is working, the frustration of it doesn't eliminate the opportunity to learn. So we've learned a lot in the spring semester because of all these different scenarios. And we have offered hotspots now, and will continue to offer to any family that may need it. And no matter how many kids they have, we will offer them individual devices, so they're not sharing device time with parents or siblings.
Yes, that would be very important. We have another question. Will elementary students be given textbooks to take home, or will everything be online? The person goes on by saying, as a sub and tutor, I have been asked by many parents to tutor when school online begins.
Well, certainly textbooks that are available and our hard copies will be distributed when students come at their scheduled time to pick up what their needs are. I do think there are a lot of textbooks that are now available online, so you don't necessarily need a hard copy, but we are going to make sure that every family receives and every student receives the resources they need. My only request to the substitute tutor is, please do your tutoring after school hours, because we want the students to be focusing 100% on their teachers and the delivery of instruction.
Of course. Dr. Ekchian, earlier we were chatting before we went live on all the prep work that goes into this and all the collaboration and the communications that take place, and your frequent meetings that you have with the the county public health department, and all the guidance that the science-backed guidance that you receive. Perhaps you can comment a little bit about that, and and some of the communications that you have, because we are on Facebook Live, and this will be watched by thousands of people, many of whom will be outside of the Glendale Unified School District. If you can sort of comment on, are there any sort of synchronization between the various school departments within LA County or Southern California for that matter?
So very simply put, we have 80 school districts in the county of Los Angeles. And when we first began with the COVID experience, we were on a daily phone calls with the county and all 80 school districts. Now it is weekly, but within that period of time, we also have public health. Dr. Ferrer is part of that call. So we ask questions, we're given weekly information. The guidelines around public health and the protocols for cleanliness, physical distancing, and or referrals and contact tracing, all are coordinated within the county, also guided by California Department of Education and the state. So we're 100% coordinated. We have autonomies at the local level of the type of hybrid program we choose to offer based on what parents and students want. But the reality of now going distance learning was 100% based on student health needs.
Great.
We just received a message from Michelle Green that she was on the phone call with the LA County Office of Education today, going through the guidelines. I believe she's on a guest list, so that's why she couldn't speak. So she typed it in the chat. So the communications always happen. It's ongoing.
Great. Great. Well, thank you very much. I'll scan one last time. It looks like we got to all our questions. Oh, there's another one that came in, and this question asks, what's the sense of the difference in the overall financial costs to schools and students of executing distant learning versus the pre-COVID traditional learning?
Dr. Ghrapetian, would you like to offer the historical perspective, and I would focus on what we have spent so far?
Go ahead and.
Okay. So prior to this COVID experience, as you all know, funding for public education has not been one that we can be proud of. So within the whole country, we've been 43rd for a long time. But at the end of the day, Glendale, long prior to my being here, has been very, very conservative, has invested, has had reserves. So as a result of this COVID, of course, we have spent a significant amount of funding on safety, on devices. And we hope that through the CARES Act and other funding sources, we're going to be able to make sure that we continue to benefit from a funding model that is positive. But it is very difficult because we've had to take risks financially that did not exist prior to COVID. The thousands of devices, all the PPE equipment, all the additional cleaning, hand washing stations, that is a significant cost to the school district.
I think we have gotten to all our questions. Are there, and it looks like we have everybody from our panel. If you don't mind, I would like to take a group photo, a virtual group photo. I guess we'll have to do a screenshot. Let's see, Command-Shift-4 is the way to do it.
So give me 1 second. We're going to put our masks on so we can be in the picture at the same time.
Or another way you can do it is you can sort of, one person can stand in
We'll do that. We'll do that. Dr. Margan, come back and we'll do it.
Oh, okay, here we go.
There we go. Yes, perfect. Smile, everybody, and say cheers.
Cheers.
One more. This was truly a great discussion. We're truly honored to have all of you, on this panel. We hope to continue these discussions. It's very important for the community to hear from multiple facets. We've been doing these types of educational webinars for healthcare related, for the public and for healthcare professionals, both here and globally. And it is very important that we learn from each other and update each other as we move forward, because this, the implications of this pandemic goes far beyond health. As we learned today, education, jobs, well-being, and we're very, very thankful for all the information you shared, and we hope to continue these discussions and perhaps periodically have similar type of roundtables and discussions to be updated and to update the community at large as well. Dr. Ekchian, Dr. Ghrapetian, thank you very much. Dr. Margan, truly this has been, Michelle Green, this has been really, really a very informative roundtable discussion. Dr. Garlsyan, thank you very much for your leadership. Please, everybody, heed all the advice that we are getting from our public health officials. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of your mental well-being, your physical well-being. Take care of the people around you, your loved ones, and so that we're going to get through this. It's just a matter of readjusting, reframing, refocusing our day-to-day life so that we'll be on the other side of this better, stronger, and we'll get used to the new normal. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating on this. Thank you for your questions. Have a great night.
Doctor, before I let you go, so I just want to talk about our trainings, the mental health trainings and the suicide prevention, the QPR and youth mental health trainings. We still have space. We will be running it throughout the school year. Please look under our department and sign up. It is very educational. We want our parent engagement. We want our parents to participate. And of course, you know, as Dr. Ekchian mentioned, participation has increased tremendously, but we want to take it to a step further. So please, it is on a PowerPoint. I'm not sure if we're going to post this, but on our website under GUSD, you will see the flyers. We send it to all schools and principals and everywhere. Please join. So it's very informative.
We will do, and you know, we'll take it a step further. If you can send us a link, a link, we will actually blast it to all our contacts. There was a question that came through a text message on that earlier. Sorry, I didn't get to it, but yes, please send us the information via email, and we will circulate it throughout our contacts of all our healthcare professional networks.
Okay, will do. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, Dr. Garlsyan and Dr. Sepilian, and thank you, everyone. We appreciate it.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Thank you. Take
Okay,
care.
good
Have a
care.
great night.
You too.